Hello, and welcome to Hazardsuit Gaming's review of Battlefield Bad Company 2 Vietnam. With the much anticipated Battlefield 3 being released later this year, Battlefield Bad Company 2 remains the best multiplayer shooter around for those who prefer big maps, vehicles and destructible environments. Bad Company 2 Vietnam does feel a lot like an add-on, with only a small number of maps, vehicles and weapons by comparison to the main game. However, what is included is highly polished and balanced, complemented by the very reasonable £10 price tag. The release of this downloadable content pack is a great bit of nostalgia for the FPS veterans who loved the original Battlefield Vietnam, released in 2004, with nods to a lot of the same features. For example, music makes a return when you get into a vehicle, although this time a 60s hit is played at random rather than being selected by the player. This is a bit sad, as there's something quite special about attacking an enemy camp in a Huey helicopter with Ride of the Valkyries blaring out over the gunfire. Another new addition to the game, which adds to the retro feel, are the loading screens. As a new round is loaded, the map is described in the style of a 60s American news report, with the report changing at the end of the round depending on whether your team won or lost.
GIs have been dispatched to a fire base overlooking the valley of Tien Le, a key area in South Vietnam used in the farming of rice. Their mission is simple: to hold and defend the high ground against any...
There are four main types of vehicles present in Vietnam: the helicopter, tanks, jeeps, and the PBR boats for the few maps that have stretches of water. Overall, this is quite well balanced, because while the helicopter is very effective against infantry, as it's almost impossible to shoot down with small arms and there are no guidable rockets like in the main Bad Company, tanks seem to be able to double up as frustratingly effective anti-air weapons. Although it's a bit weird that, with exception to tanks and jeeps, vehicles remain the same, with both sides having access to the exact same type of helicopter and boat, meaning that the continuity of the game is a bit odd when there are Vietnamese troops flying around in American helicopters. The same applies to weapons. As players are able to pick their own loadout, you'll often see the two sides using each other's guns. So while this doesn't affect the gameplay, it does spoil the look of it slightly. On the subject of weapons, the same four classes from Bad Company 2 are featured here. Assault is a good all-around attacking class. Engineer specialises in anti-vehicle warfare. The Medic is able to revive downed players and use support weapons like machine guns, while Recon is the sniper class. As mentioned, the choice of guns is fairly limited, with this choice tending to be reduced again as the better weapons to use are easily apparent from what other players are using. Vietnam contains the same game modes that are in the full Bad Company 2, with the area control based Conquest, which uses the whole map, as well as Rush, which opens up the map in stages if the attacking team manages to successfully destroy their objectives. The pacing of Vietnam feels a lot faster than the full game, due to players having slightly less health points. This is due to the lack of modern body armour in the time when the game is set. As a result, players take less hits before being killed, so decent, quick teamwork is essential to victory. Newer players might find this frustrating, as there's a bit of a learning curve before your kill-to-death ratio improves, especially if there are skilled players who know all the best areas to attack or defend from. Once you do get better at the game, however, Vietnam becomes far more enjoyable, especially during those rare moments where everything just seems to go your way. Overall, Battlefield Bad Company 2 Vietnam is well worth the small investment. It breathes new life into the game if you've exhausted all the possibilities in the main Bad Company 2. However, without the release of any new maps, it could get repetitive quite quickly.